Welcome to Fat Cat production of News with a View. I'm your host, John A. Costa. Today is March 7th, 2025, and this is episode 46. If you look, there was no episode yesterday because we did two shows the day before. So I decided, hold off and we'll do a show today. And the facts that I point out here are facts actually taken from articles, and I always try to place where this information is coming from. Most times. Today I did on some of them, and other ones I didn't. The controversial ones I put in there. Most of my information is garnished off of MSNBC, CNN, CBS, Fox. I very rarely go to Fox. When I have a story that contradicts not the facts, but the opinion, then I'll go to Fox. And I try to keep it as balanced. But again, I'm a conservative-leaning person, and I will use common sense in making some of my calls. And again, my common sense is not your common sense. It could be, but if it's not, I'd love to hear back from you guys on comments on YouTube and Facebook. I don't mind comments or anything else that you might want to leave me. Some people have left me some good critiques, and others not so good. But that's okay, because like ice cream, there's just not one flavor. All right, so today on episode 46, we're going to be looking at 5 items, and then a piece that I saw just as I was printing everything up and tidying everything up. Something caught my eye, and I'll go on that, and that will be at the end. So this will be a long-winded episode. Maybe not. I'm starting this now at 9:03. So hopefully by 10:03 I'm done. All right. Appeal court rules in President Trump's favor for now. And I say for now. Second item will be Democrats sing on the Congress floor. USDA fired workers given a 45-day stay, meaning that, in this case, those people that got fired can come back. Department of Education closure. That's planned by President Trump. Universal NBC says that will be a political backfire. So we'll go into that a bit. The fifth one will be CBS files to end the suit brought on by Donald Trump over the Kamala Harris interview that was skewed. So we'll go over that. I have some interesting things with that. All right, let's go right to the top one as far as I'm concerned. Appeal courts allow Trump to remove head of federal watchdog agency for now. So the Federal Appeals Court is allowing President Trump to remove the head of the government watchdog agency while a legal challenge to his firing is going to be played out in the courts. So what this really means is he's fired until the courts tell him he has to take him back. And that noise you're hearing is the heat coming on up here, because it is 37 degrees out here in sunny, warm South Carolina on March 7th. We should be in the 60s and 70s. But we got a cold burst, and it happens. So what this means is that the lower court ruling that said that, no, he keeps his job, not so much. But it does leave open the ability, in this case, for Dellinger, who is head of the Office of Special Counsel, gives him the ability to take it up higher in the courts. Like I said, everything has to go up steps. And because you can't go one up steps, you can go to a different area and try to get it up the steps. The whole fact in this case is that when you have a person in the executive and judicial branch that is appointed by the president, and then Congresses confirm him, it's very difficult to remove these people. There are reasons, and of course, they're normal. Congress gives the president and themselves out. This guy's a crook, or this guy is not doing his job, he's not showing up, and so forth. They can be removed. But they can't be removed for a political reason. I don't like the guy. He didn't give me a harumph. He's not backing me. He's fighting me every step of the way. And I need people that are going to do what I tell them to do. So they're protected by that. And that's actually a very good thing. Everyone is saying, well, he could be fired, he can do this. And what this guarantees is when one party wins over another party, that there is a continuation of stability in the branches. And not so much in the branches, I'll take that back, but in the agencies. That, there's not going to be a major upheaval because of the political fallout. And that's really important. And I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're a Democrat. Both parties have to play inside those guardrails. Now, a very famous Democrat president fired, I think his name was William Humphreys. I know his last name was Humphrey. And this president, who was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, fired then the Federal Trade Commission chairperson, the director, not the chairperson, but the head. And he said, nope, you can't do that. And it went all the way up the courts. And it landed in the Supreme Court. But during all this fighting and taking place, Humphreys died. As such, the new guy that was put in and appointed and confirmed took over. But Humphrey's wife took on the fight up through the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that the reason why FDR fired him was unjust and not proper. Now, there was nothing the family could do. I mean, the guy's dead. But what ended up happening to just settle the matter and get it out, and what probably was happening behind the scenes, and if I remember reading this, FDR tried to settle this with the family real quick. They go, hey, we'll pay him out his year's service, and that will be it. And you drop everything. Well, she didn't drop it. She let the Supreme Court make a ruling. And the Supreme Court had said, can't do it. So there is vetted Supreme Court rulings on this. And this was one of the ones that I said was going to be real tricky, because the president will have to show the Congresses and potentially the Supreme Court on why he acted to remove these people. And one of the things is efficiency in that. So if Trump can show an instance where things weren't efficient, he's got someplace to hang his hat. You just can't go in there because, the office, this guy is not on my team. Now, if they could prove that in this particular person, in their agency, there was so much fraud going around and misuse and shenanigans, and that's going to be easy to do because he has Doge. And wherever you have a government agency, you're going to have inefficiency and you're going to have fraud. So it's not going to be a hard lift for Trump to go in there and go this, and that happened on this guy's watch. He should have caught it. He said everything was okay, and they're going to be gone. Now, he couldn't do that. Trump could not do that unless he had Doge going into these places and looking around. So this was very calculative on Trump's scheme. And people think a scheme is a terrible thing. A scheme is just another word for schematic or layout or plan. So scheme has a sinister connotation to it, but his scheme was to run in there before anything could be changed, hidden, removed, and start taking fingerprints of everything. Trump will win this case with facts. So this was an interesting one, and I was on the fence on how this will play out, and I think that Trump will win this case. This will be a big win. This will be a wake-up call for many, many presidents to come. All right. And that was the executor, a Humphrey executor ruling by the Supreme Court in 1935. So all this stuff has happened before, and you hear people, this has never happened before. This is unprecedented. No, it's not. So, don't believe everything you read. Do your research. The only thing I hate about the research is who's researching the researchers. You go, well, I saw it on Google, I went on Reddit, or I did here, or I did InfoSearch, or whatever you're using. Who says that that's right? So, it's real interesting stuff. And I have collections of Harper's weeklies dating back from 47 through 1888. All of them. Big hard binders. Some of them are ratty, but the content is good. And I like reading about stories that were printed back then, and then comparing that to what's on, the internet on that subject. And it's interesting. And like I said, what is it, WikiLeaks or whatever that is. You can read through that. Maybe 90% of it is factual. But then there's some stuff in there that you go, no, that's not what this article is saying. So now you have to start looking around for other sources. And it's fun. I like it. And last night, wifey and I went out to our local favorite hangout, Socrates Station in Socrates, South Carolina. Nice little bar. Great people. And I sat next to people that were fervent Democrats. I mean, real progressives. And we had a great conversation, and we laughed, and, I brought up things, and I showed them on the, no, that's not correct. You got part of it, but then you got to read what the rest of the statute says, and then we're like, oh. And I go, here, this is what this means. And remember, in the Constitution, the word it, might not have the same meaning of it in our everyday use, because it is being used inside these brackets. So you have to find out what it means in that context. And so I love the 14th Amendment. I have all the books here on the 14th Amendment, the Guide to the Constitution by Edwin Meese III. Great book. It can get you pointing in the right direction, and it's fun. And again, this is just one source. I try to find multiple sources, because who's fact checking this guy? No one's fact checking. Even though you go through it and you go, yes, it's correct. But so we went through, and I said, these are the executive orders that I think he's going to stumble on. And of those executive orders that he's going to stumble on, these are the ones he's going to win. And there are going to be some that he just outright loses. There's just no way he can win that. And she jumped up and said, oh, the 14th Amendment, he'll never, and I go, no, that's one he's going to win. And people are not going to be happy with that. But I've already spoken on other podcasts, if you look back, where I said the problem with him winning is, now what do we do? Okay, you won. Now what? So, all right. But I had a lovely time with that couple, and they come in there every once in a while, and it was a good night. We talked about the menu, and I go, did you know that on the first Saturday of every month, the first Saturday of every new month, they have a prime rib dinner here? Not advertised. You gotta know. And they didn't know it, and so we're gonna meet them the next new month. And they are ardent progressives. But when you can have and laugh with people and go over and they show you and you show them and you have a nice conversation about it, it's wonderful. No shouting, no yelling, laughs. We made jokes about everyone. Everyone had jokes and they laughed. And I said, the next time we meet, I'm not going to do it now. I'll give you the card. You can just click on your phone. It'll take you right to my site. Those little QRC codes, whatever they're called. So thank God the heat turned off and you could hear me. All right. Enough of me praising myself. Well, got the whole hour to do that. Of course, Representative Al Green, Democrat, Texas, was censured by the House. And, of course, all the Republicans censured him, as well as 10 Democrats who jumped on board and sealed the deal. So, what did those rest of those other Democrats do? Run up to the podium en masse and start singing "We Shall Overcome." Now, Speaker Johnson is gaveling away. Click, there'll be order, there'll be order. They could care less. They just stayed there, and then finally they just said, oh. Every one of those Democrats should be censured. The House votes, and that's it. They made their case. Green is now censured. Green should be removed from office, and for multiple reasons. And this is a guy that I said was the top 5 on my list for years. For years. He's not a good person. And when I say good person, I'm talking about a political person that uses their common sense. A Warren, I don't like her politics, but she can present her feelings on it using facts. I said you can't dispute facts. That's why they're called facts. Bernie Sanders, don't like the guy's politics, but he'll show proof in what he says. Some of the other ones, no, they don't. It's all emotional driven. And emotion is in the way. So these Democrats, and this is, Schumer and his little gang of people. And it was just a ridiculous display. And you want to wear your hats, and you want to wear your coats and armband and stuff, and you have a silent protest. Even their ridiculous little ping pong, signs that you would use, if you're also bidding on something at a auction, you raise your little thing up and you have a number on it. was pitiful. Pitiful. But when you look at what else can the Democrats do, they can't stand behind their policies in the last 4 years because they've been horrible. And the American people felt it was horrible and voted in people to change those policies. So for them to try to lean and show what they've done, it's the last thing they want to do. So really, what other bag and, what other tricks in their bag can they go to? So they can get out there and, sing Kumbaya. Ain't gonna help, fellas. I said in yesterday's morning show, the only hope for the Democrats is to get on board with President Trump. And when I mean get on board, is say, we can work with you on this. And we want to see an efficient government, and we want to see a government that isn't bloated. But we also have concerns, and we want to be part of the solution. And I agree that, you don't cut to the bone. That's always been a bad business decision. And when you do something like that, now the government isn't a business, so you're not worried so much about brand reputation. But if you're talking about brands of a political party, yeah, you got to be careful with that, and you got to treat it nice. Even though the majority of the voters have anywhere between a 30 and 90-day memory. So meaning, unless stuff is brought up 30 to 90 days before an election, a lot of that is just water under the bridge, and people aren't going to pay attention to it. But the Democrats should jump on board the president's bandwagon and work with him where, like I said, Trump goes, I'm going to eliminate, 85% of the people. And they go, Mr. President, I know you want to eliminate this, but this is, this, and this, but, maybe 3,500 people is more realistic in keeping everything going. And then maybe you see how that goes, and in a year you could let another 2,300 people go and see how that goes. And with the idea that the next group that you do, you tell these people, hey, there's a chance I might rehire you. And do it in a manner where you accomplish what you want to do, but it's a lot more palatable. And not that it needs to be fair, but it feels fair. And really, that's what they should have done. They should, Trump should go in there and go, hey, I'm cutting 30%. And then the place is running fine. And he goes, a year from now, I'm cutting another 20%. And then they go, oh, it's not running so fine. But you give those people, hey, in 90 days I might, realize this is too much, There'll always be a bump in the road when you let that many people go until, it finds its equilibrium and, everything goes. But if it doesn't, you hire them back. If they want to come back, they come back. If not, you got probationary employees again. You let them go and go. If I bring you back, you start it, where you left off. I'm not going to penalize you for, saying, well, you're under 2 years again. No. Your probation status will follow you, so you don't have to start over again. We'll just pick it up. It will be like you never left. So there's ways that you could have made this at least feel and look humane. But the Democrats' immaturity level has no bounds. Excuse me. It has no bounds. It just ceases to amaze me of their of the rationale of them. And if Trump says blue, they say green. If Trump then goes, well, okay, it's green, they go, no, it's orange. So it's annoying. But it's the Democrats. And Trump said that. He goes, I could come up here and find a cure, and these people wouldn't be happy. They'd find a problem with it. Because they're just so geared into doing that, taking that position. It's like a dog that has been always beaten with a newspaper rolled up. And, the dog, didn't know anything and rolled the newspaper up and you hit the dog, and then the dog would yipe. And, after the third time, the dog knew that when that paper got rolled up, they were going to yipe. So the minute they sees the dog would see the paper rolled up. Well, that's the Democrats. That's the Democrats. When they see a Republican, and they start squealing and yelping. And we're seeing it. We are seeing this daily now on the news. Even CNN, MSNBC will never see it. NBC Universal will never see it. They're just... it's totally left-leaning. And where, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Fox. But I would say that every article, everything that I've seen, they always give both sides, and then they'll say why their side is right. Everyone does that, but at least they put both sides out there. All right, enough about the crybaby Democrats. USDA ordered to temporarily reinstate thousands of fired employees. Now, this was one where, again, I said the way that Trump handled these firings was through the OPM, Office of Personnel Management. Now, you think that the Office of Personnel Management, would be like HR. HR can then say, gotta go. And they tell your boss, this guy's gotta go. But that's not the case of OPM. OPM is just, they send letters out, to all the different agencies. Another agency that you could have an agency inside an agency that does that. Why do you need these 8,000 workers over there to do something that 400 workers could do over there? So that is the problem inside the government. So what has happened in this case was, because of the way they were let go, it didn't follow the proper channel. So the firing over 5,000 probationary employees at the agricultural department may have been unlawful. Not saying it's It's determined to be unlawful. Say, may have been. And the workers should be reinstated for at least 45 days, a federal civil service board ruled on Wednesday. So, the civil service board is not the court. But, in the handling of the federal agency, they got a lot of power. So they're saying these people must be put back. And the U.S. Merit Systems Protection Board Chair Kathy Harris, who was also fired but had to keep her job because Trump can't fire these people like he was doing, but Trump will win that case. So what they're saying is the department had engaged in prohibited personal practices to carry out the mass firing. Yeah. Yes, I can see where they're going, but Trump is going to use the information gathered by Doge to say that I was removing all these people because of inefficiency and from their boss who wasn't doing their job to filter out overruns and costs and budgets and whatever, even though this might have been approved, funding for this might have all been approved by Congress. So this has lots of little tentacles that go out. But I think if the Trump administration can prove that this agency was ineffective, yeah, they can go in there and do it under the articles. I think it was, what did I say, 7106 U.S. C5 7106 paragraph 2. I mean, I could find it, but I've already said it. I do have to put a little bullet list out here for myself that says, so I can just look over and push a button and find that information. But I think this is one where Trump will win this. So if the agency head, and this is how it should have happened, Trump should have called in all the agency heads and said, I'm ordering you to come back to this office in 7 days. I want to see a 30% reduction from you. I want to see 60% reduction from you. I want to see 85%. And that is my plan. And they can go running out of the office screaming, this can't be done, this blah, 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 blah. And I'm asking you for your plan. This is what I want to do. Give me your plan. And they come back and go, I can't do that. Well, why can't you do that? It's impossible. No. You got a list of people here. Tell me the ones you could live without. Well, they're all important. Really? This person's in charge of this over here. Why can't this person be in charge of both of them over here? Well, it's not done that way. Okay? Why? Well, because these are the people that were hired here and do this. Oh, so you're saying you're inefficient. That's it. That's it. Well, I see where the problem is. I know the first person that's going, you. And then he puts someone in there, appoints, and then that person goes, yeah, you're right. These people, we don't need them. So let's start the layoff process. That could have happened. They control the Congress. They could show, and I guarantee you 2 or 3 Democrats would jump on that to go, hey, I'm not approving. I'm not going back to my state that's being taxed to death. Or, we got problems of our own. And going back there and say, I'm protecting, an agency that's inefficient. So this is one they got a 45-day stay, or up to a 45-day stay, because at that point then it hits the fan and stuff happens. Now, NBC Universal put a little thing out there that Trump's plan to dismantle the Department of Education could absolutely, now could and absolutely in the same sentence, I don't know. Because absolute is absolute. And could is maybe. So could absolutely backfire politically. Well, I read the article, and it was the typical, he's going after LGBTQ, he's going after DEI, he's going for after-school programs, he's going, and people are just going to say, no. We're going after programs that has nothing to do with teaching our children. And the idea of Department of Education was to help schools in the teaching of reading, writing, arithmetic. And they said, no, the 3 R's are, we'll let the school decide the 3 R's. We're here to help with the other things. And what the Democrats still can't grasp is Trump was saying for 3 years he was going to do this. He was going to overhaul, and with the Department of Education, out. Don't need it. Let the school districts do what the school districts do. And the DOE had been used by the DEI and LGBTQ for their agenda for the past 16 years. And really, most American students graduating high school, not all of them, but most of them, are on a below par reading level and a below par math level and a below par science. But they know what 2 men can do together and 2 women can do together. Or they know how a man could be a woman and a woman be a man. And how an 8-year-old can know to be called a name that they're not associated with. Right? That's what DOE was all doing. And you'll have people, no. That was just a little piece, and that could be. No. Stinks from the head of the fish to the tail of the fish. This is a department that has to go. Now, not saying that a new department could not be started, but this Department of Education was not a Department of Education. It was more a department of I don't know. It was indoctrination, a department of indoctrination. And that was what Trump was saying about this years ago. So the voters for Trump are going to stand behind his decision here. So as much as you think that you got a good case here, guys, you don't have a good case here. Trump is going to close that down. And with good reason. And when he gets up there on speeches, he's going to go out and reach to the American people and say, this is why I'm doing it. Look what I found. Look what I found. And it's going to be great. They really do need, in the 45 days, I'm impressed on how hard he's punching. Now, I'm not going to say every punch is going to land, but how hard he's punching. And the courts might punch back because Democrats are going to challenge everything, and that's their right to do. They can do that. They could use the law just as much as he used the law. So absolutely no problem with that. But I think he will make his case. It's going to be easier for Trump to say how he's going to win this than how the Democrats are going to win it. All right. Item 5. We're almost done here, and it's 49 minutes into the show. So we're running close here. CBS files a motion to dismiss the lawsuit brought by Trump and party. So CBS has filed a motion to dismiss President Donald Trump's $20 billion lawsuit over former Vice President Kamala Harris's 60 Minutes interview last year, calling the suit an affront to the First Amendment without basis in law or fact. Well, I'm going to say, this is just me, that CBS going on that is, they're going to lose that. They're going to try to make this a First Amendment right. And they'll lose that because the original piece will show her saying words in this sentence. And then CBS rearranging those words, but taking the position, but they're still words. And we have the right to edit them. We didn't change the word. We just replaced them in different spots. And their basis will be all broadcast interviews are edited. Now, this is true, but most of the time they're edited to fit the format of the program, or to fit the time frame of the program. So they have to, if I had like this 1 minute, 20-second pause, they might take it and unpause it and just have it flow through, never changing The words are still connected in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down the line. But what CBS alleged to have done was taken 6 and move it from 1, and 1 then became 5, and that could change the whole meaning of the sentence. You manipulated it. That wasn't an interview. You just could have had someone read 500 words and then you piece it together and, well, but she said him. So I think this is a very, I mean, I know, other than the fact that it might slowly result down, I think that a court will go in there and go, this has nothing to do with First Amendment. This has everything to do with content and how you presented the content and how you misrepresented the content. And in, a politician can lie. Like, they can do that. A politician can get out there and go, say whatever piece he does. Donald Trump does it every day. And they sometimes take a sentence and take it out of context and try to jam it in, to an opinion. But what CBS did was manipulated it to make it different than from the original. And they're going to use, no, that's editing and it's free speech because we can, not going to hold up. Not going to hold up. You can't do that. And mostly a news or, they're going to say, well, we're not a news, we're a entertainment. And, and they're going to say that, what Trump is trying to do is controlling the editing decision made by a news organization. And no, you can't rearrange it as such that the words now have a different meaning. And who was it? Jon Stewart had wanted Musk to come on his show. And Musk turned around and he goes, I'd love to come on your show. But here's the caveat. You can't edit the show. So I'll come on there and you can't edit anything I do. And Jon Stewart thought about it. And he goes, you know what? I don't have a problem with that. And he goes, I'll give you, as long as you want, the old pregnant pause, the whole thing. You know that we only have an hour and a half or an hour. So whatever that hour is, when we get to the end, that's it. And that's the end of the show. But it will not be edited. I won't go in there and compress it. And Jon Stewart is fine with that. And I'd like to see Elon Musk, because Jon Stewart does ask good question. He gets out there just like anyone else. He wants a laugh. He wants, that look and stuff. But I can take Jon Stewart doing an interview as long as it's not edited. So that's going to be that's going to be interesting. And of course, CBS is going to say that Trump administration and that now any government official can punish us for editing a piece. Well, if you misconstrue, if you misuse your right of editing to create now a whole new sentence, yeah. Because that's not news anymore. That's something totally different. And you can't try to put that off there as a factual basis. So they're saying, well, they're not only asking for the $20 billion, they're asking for how we edit our shows. And no, we just want you to realize that if you edit shows like you did, and you have the right to do it, just realize you're going to be sued. And it will cost you another $20 billion. How do you think you're going to keep doing that? So they're not trying to tell you how to edit a show. Go ahead, get sued. But in this case, we're suing you because you took these words and rearranged them to be something else. And then said that that was an interview and that it wasn't edited. And you tried to tell the people that those were the words coming out of her mouth in that sequence. CBS, you're dead in the water. Sit down with Trump. Agree to, that the edit was wrong. It was a bad decision. Settle on a dollar amount. Trump will not sign an NDA. He'll put out there, this is what I got. CBS has to pay me $100 million over the next, and I want that money going into the Republican coffers. So that's what I think is going to happen. And I think that they're going to say, hey, we offered you a shot to come on the show and you said no. And he goes, well, I don't have to come on your show. I think he did a show with them in 2020. And it was, he complained about the editing. Spam risk. So I think Trump's going to win that one. I don't think he's going to get $20 billion. But I think he's going to win that one. So we're now at the just about 1 hour mark. And this I saw, and this is my truly opinion piece, but using what was coming out of BuzzFeed. And this came out at March 7th at 12:16 a.m. And it's from Megan Liscombe. And with this article, and it's not an article, it's just a piece that I don't know where she got it from. Other than it was r// ask HR, and this was, I've decided to actively discriminate against Trump supporters, and people are debating this boss's new hiring rule. And they said, long story short, I've decided to actively discriminate against Trump supporters in the hiring process. I can't catch them all, but people are being pretty cavalier about praising him on LinkedIn. So that will be my guide, I guess. The work team does require a level of critical thinking that makes gullibility an incredible bad trait to have. Additionally, I just don't want people on my team who hate a country that has given me everything. Now, the article then goes on to say, they went on to explain, I'm not talking about not hiring Republicans or even necessarily people who just voted for Trump, because I know a lot of people voted them based on complex reasoning. I'm only referring to people who have actively post about or vocally support an obvious con man. I just need a higher caliber of person on my team. And persons in a checkered shirt reviewing a professional document or resume in my seated position. And then shared their questions for HR. I'm 99% sure political affiliation is not protected by federal and state law, but I'm not 100% certain. Am I wrong in this? Now, this is obviously to get both sides going. This piece is a front to a polling to see just what the temperature of the people are that have read this, to go, and there are no federal protections against this. Your local state and city may have, though. California, New York, Washington, all have limiting policies. Yeah, you are protected, and there are policies that stop. You can't discriminate based on a person's political affiliation. So I don't even know if you're even allowed to ask what your political affiliation is. They might be able to ask the question. You're not empowered to respond to it, maybe. But this is a dog whistle. This is to see what people, political ideals are reading BuzzFeed. And, you get people, listen, the MAGA crowd would have no issue with discriminating against me in the hiring process, so F them. And another guy, a small business owner I know went into the parking lot of his business after the election and fired everyone with a Biden or left-leaning bumper sticker on their car. And he goes, I don't think there's a risk. Political affiliation is not a protected class. Well, I'm telling you, it is a protected class. So this was an attempt by BuzzFeed to take a temperature of the people who are reading their articles. And it doesn't really mean anything other than to get people riled up and to cause a stir, and more people answer it, and they get a broader sense of who's reading these articles. Is it, Republicans, progressives, MAGA, so you don't know. And then the answer comes back and they get it and they go, hey, this is something we threw out there, and, who knows if they didn't post the same thing to ask HR. Give me something ridiculous that I can post up here, and I'll give a ridiculous scenario, and let's see what we get. But that's what's out there. And there's no sourcing other than we knew who wrote it, and we knew it was on BuzzFeed. But there was no one coming back and saying this is exactly this exactly took place. So I kind of laugh at those things, and it always makes me skeptical, about articles that do that. But I will say they all do it because it's the easiest way for them to get the temperature of the people who are reading their articles and what's on their mind and their thought processes along, a political line. So interesting stuff, stupid stuff, and made me laugh. All right, so this is just about an hour into the show. I'm going to end it. I'm done for today. I'm hoping it gets warmer out because I got yard work I have to do. I hate yard work. I hate it. But I got to do it. Now, as a heads up, I will be doing a show Saturday. Tomorrow, today's Friday. And then I will not be doing another show until Friday of next week. I haven't figured it out yet how I can do it, but I will be unavailable after Saturday until Thursday. Ain't telling you why, but I am unavailable. Friday I should be back, but I might try doing recorded stuff via my cell phone, or I might take one of my camcorders. The only thing I hate about my camera that does the camcorder is it gives a little timestamp and date and everything like that. It's almost like it's and there's no way for me to edit that out that I could think of. I might do a little blockage thing and put banners over it. So I might be able to take care of that. And do a couple of on-the-spot stuff, 20, 30-minute things that and in the evening I can upload and hopefully do that. I say hopefully. There's a good chance that I will not be able to do that. But we'll figure it out. And I'll give that a shot. Probably tonight, just playing around with it to see it and then go, all right, I can do this. This can work. All right. And with that, I'm going to say have a good day, because this is now, 10:15 or so in the morning on Friday, the 7th of March. Always say prayers. Everyone can use a prayer. Give to a charity if you can. Make sure it's a registered charity. Those charities will not come to you. You must go to those charities to make sure you don't become a victim helping victims. And with that, I'm going to look over because I can never find this button. And it's a big button. I should put a big knob thing on it. With that, I'm going to say hello, Chris. Hello, Rowan. And everyone have a good one as I fade to black.